Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. It's 3:30, well, 3:31-ish. That's my fault. I had so much fun standing there. But for everybody that's new or everybody online, this is a roughly 40-minute Yoga-Pilates fusion class, as promised from Tuesday. Today will be more hip mobility practice, but we're still going to add in like introduction to some of those basics. With that being said, there is an option to utilize the blocks that we have. If you're at home, feel free to not use blocks at all. If you don't have any, a lot of them, there's modifications that you can work around as well. With that being said, I would like to encourage everybody to take breaks as needed. We're still going to be increasing that intensity as we go, but for everybody just now getting started, this could be a little bit difficult for you in some areas, more so than others. Just making sure you're taking those modifications. Feel free to ask me for any modifications as well. If you're starting to feel tired or feel sore, push back into that child's pose. I do it sometimes too. You just don't know because, well, I'm teaching. With that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start in that child's pose. Coming down, if you're looking for a deeper hip stretch, your knees are going to be wider on the mat, and you're just going to walk your hands a little bit further down. Taking this time to set your intentions for today's class. Get centered with your breathing. You might try box breathing here. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold, and repeat. Taking a little bit of time to bring awareness into all 4 corners of your body. You might try wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, feeling your forearms pressed into the mat as you slowly allow yourself to sink further and further into the floor. Feel free to add a little bit of mobility through this stretch by rocking your hips side to side. Getting rid of any tension or tightness. If you're looking to increase the intensity, feel free to walk your fingers a little bit further down the mat, sinking your chest a little bit further into the floor. Taking one more deep breath in. As you exhale, we're coming all the way up into that tabletop position, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, keeping a slight bend in your elbows just to alleviate any pressure from your wrists. We're going to start our cat-cow series here, breathing all the way in, allowing your chest to expand and lift all the way up to the ceiling, holding. Exhale, arching your back up. Should feel like there's a string attached to your belly button. You're squeezing your core, pushing all the way up. Inhaling again, arching our back, lifting our chest to the ceiling. Expanding those lungs. Exhale, going all the way up, squeezing your core, pushing through the heels of your palms. Inhale, expanding the chest, lifting to the ceiling. Taking a slight hold. Exhale, lifting all the way back up, squeezing our core. Inhaling one more time, lifting our chest to the ceiling. This time on our exhale, we're going to go into those extended cat-cow poses, pushing all the way to child's pose. Feeling a little stretch through our shoulders. Inhale, lifting all the way back up, coming into that baby cobra, extending out that cat-cow, feeling a slight stretch through your lower back. Inhale, going back into child's pose. Exhale, pushing up, extended cat-cow. Trying to get a little bit deeper into this stretch. Inhale, pushing back, lifting through your core, stretching through that shoulder. One more time, lifting all the way back up, finding your tabletop position. Again, shoulders over wrists, hip over knees. We're going to do little hip circles heading into that hip mobility portion. Lifting up through your left leg, squeezing that glute, pushing all the way around. Try not to move any other part of your body other than your leg. You're squeezing through your core here, pushing through all four corners of your hands. Maybe squeezing the mat with your fingertips. Really trying to engage our hips and our glute. Slow and in control. And circling the other way in the opposite direction. Still engaging our core here. Slow and in control. For one more. Oh, if you've been to this class, you know how much I love bird dogs. There will not be a class that we don't do bird dogs. Feel free to extend your right arm up and your left leg back. Go ahead and squeeze your core, pulling your knee to your elbow and extending out again. Feel free to use the blocks here if you like bird dogs with blocks. Some may find it easier, some may find it harder. Doing this at your own pace. If you are interested in using blocks, you're just going to want to put one under your left hand and one under your right knee, making sure we're still engaging our core here. Taking deep breaths, trying to keep that straight line all the way from fingertips to your toes. Go ahead and do this 2 more times, really engaging that glute. Keeping your core tight, using your breath. Last one. Extending all the way out again. Lowering back down. Let's go ahead and do those hip rotations for the right side now. So circling that right hip. Again, only moving the hip, trying to keep your core centered, your chest parallel to the ground. You don't want to rock side to side here. Only engaging your right glute and your right hip flexors. Letting your breath work for you. You might try exhaling on your lift. Inhale on your lower. One more. Let's go ahead and circle in the other direction now. Still taking those deep breaths. Feeling a bit of a burn through your right glute, generating a little bit of heat. Checking that core, making sure it's still engaged. Last one. Heading straight into those bird dogs, extending that left arm out, kicking that right leg back, trying to keep a straight line, fingertips to toes, and crunching your knee to your elbow. If that's too difficult for you, feel free to just lower your left hand back. You don't need to crunch. We're still trying to stay strong. If you'd like to increase intensity, the blocks are always available. Just making sure we're still using our breath, still engaging all of the muscles. Using that right glute to lift off. For 2 more. Last one. Extending all the way out and lowering back down. We're still in that tabletop position here. We're just going to take a few hover taps, curling our toes underneath of us, pushing through the heels of your palms, lifting up. You should feel this in your quads. Slowly lowering down, pushing through your shoulders as well. Light lift up, using your back, and lowering back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. For 2 more. And last one. As you're hovered, you're just going to step your left leg forward and your right leg forward, coming all the way into that yogi squat. Feel free to rest on your hands, slowly lowering down until you can get your heels onto the ground. If you're looking for more of an intensity increase, feel free to put the palms of your hands together, pushing your knees outward. Remember, you want to stay lifted through your chest here, trying not to hollow out that back. Should feel like there is a string attached to your top of your head and somebody's pulling you up. Feel free to rock side to side, loosening up those hips if that feels comfortable to you. Just remembering to breathe. Taking one more deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to lower your hands to the ground, push all the way up, finding a forward fold. Feel free to step out, bend those knees a little, waking up the backs of your legs. Holding onto the elbows if that's more comfortable to you, letting that back fall forward, lengthening. Taking one more nice deep breath in, you're going to lift all the way up, finding length through your fingertips, reaching for the ceiling. Taking those little side bends if you need to. In a second, we're going to go straight into a little shoulder workout series. When you're ready, you're going to bend your elbows, squeezing your scapula together like you're pinching a pencil behind there. Taking a deep breath in, squeezing. Exhale, pushing your arms back up. Inhale, bending your arms 90 degrees, squeezing those scapula together. Exhale, bending all the way back up. Doing this with our breath, making sure we're still staying braced, meaning your pelvis is tilted up and in, squeezing your core, squeezing your glutes. Head should be in a neutral position facing forward. One more time. Bending our elbows all the way. Feel free to claw your shoulders now. We're just going to do those circles one more time. And changing directions. Still staying braced. Taking a deep breath, we're going to extend our arms out into a T. Feel free to reach back with your left hand here till you find slight tension. Looking to stretch your neck out, rolling your head. If you're looking for more of a forearm stretch, feel free to tilt that wrist back. Deep breath in, coming back to center. Exhale, stretching that right arm back. Taking one more deep breath, coming back to center. Pulling your hands behind your back, interlacing your fingertips, or just reaching for your other hand. Feel free to roll your neck out here. If you're looking to increase that intensity, we're going to take a slight bend through those knees, hinging at the hips, coming all the way down to a forward fold. Holding here for one more big deep breath in. Exhale, unlocking your hands, bringing them down, coming back to your forward fold. Only this time we're going to plant our right hand on the ground, bending our right knee, lifting up with our left arm, opening up that chest. Deep breath in, trying to extend all the way. Exhale, coming back down, placing your left hand on the mat, bending your left knee, straightening out your right, and lifting up with your right arm. Feel free to use those blocks if you're having trouble reaching the ground all the way. one more big deep breath, reaching just a little bit further with your fingertips. Exhale, bringing that right hand back to the ground or your block, lifting up through your left arm. Reaching just a little bit further through your left fingertips. Exhale, lowering your left hand, reaching with your right. Taking one more big deep breath, lowering all the way down to center. Slowly lifting up, reaching through your fingertips, finding length. Deep breath in. Exhale, sending your hips back, hinging all the way down, finding that forward fold. We're going to head into those half lifts, which means you're going to inhale, hinging at the hips, bending slightly all the way up, coming into those Y lifts, sending your thumbs to the sky, squeezing your scapula together. Exhale, lowering all the way back down. Inhale, half lift. Thumbs to sky, reaching for that Y. Didn't mean to rhyme there. Exhale, lowering all the way back down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, arms to Y. Squeezing your scapula as tight as you can. Exhale, lowering back down. Placing both palms on the floor, you're going to step your left leg back, finding a low lunge. Feel free to keep that knee lifted or rest that knee onto the ground. Taking a deep breath here, letting your hips sink further to the ground. Option to use those blocks if you're having trouble staying upright or placing a block under a knee. Slowly trying to let your hips sink further and further into the ground. Adding a little bit of flow through this exercise here. You're going to straighten your leg out all the way. The blocks may come in handy here. If you're looking for more of a calf stretch, you're going to point your toes all the way up to the sky. Deep breath in. Exhale, rebending that knee. One more time, straightening that leg all the way out. Taking a deep breath here. And bending that knee one more time. From here, we're going to take our right arm and lift it all the way up, opening that chest. Deep breath in, finding length through those fingertips, and lowering your arm back down. Exhale, lift. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift one more time, really looking for length here. And exhale, lower. This time, you're going to walk the foot to the outside of your mat, placing your hand on the block or the floor, and placing your right hand, pushing your knee outward. Trying to open up your hips just a little bit more. Remembering to breathe. To add a little bit of flow, you're going to reach your hand forward and reach back, forward, and back. If this is too difficult for you, feel free to just stay in that knee pushed position. Reaching back one more time, holding here. If you're looking to increase your intensity, feel free to lift that left foot up, grabbing onto it, or just reaching. Whatever feels comfortable to you. This just stretches out your left quad. Taking one more deep breath in, letting go of that foot, bringing your hand back, placing both on the ground, stepping your right leg back. We're coming up all the way into a high plank. Again, shoulders over your wrists. You're going to exhale, slowly lowering down, engaging those triceps. Pushing all the way up, coming upward facing dog. If this is too difficult for you, feel free to lower all the way onto those quads and do a baby cobra. Still squeezing your back here. Feel free to look over at each shoulder. One more deep breath in. Exhale, lowering all the way to the ground, pushing back, finding that child's pose, giving your arms a well-deserved break. Walking your hands to the left, finding a nice stretch through your right side body. Taking one big deep breath here. Exhale, walking your hands to the right, stretching out your left side. One more deep breath in. Exhale, walking our hands back to center. Finding our tabletop position, curling our toes underneath of us, pushing through the heels of our palms, finding that downward dog, and walking our hands all the way to our feet, finding that forward fold. Taking one more deep breath. And exhale, stepping our right foot back, coming down to that low lunge. Option to keep that knee lifted or lowering it all the way to the ground. Slowly letting your hips sink further and further into the floor. Taking one more deep breath. On that exhale, you're going to push yourself back, straightening out that front leg. Option to increase that calf stretch by lifting your toes all the way up to the ceiling. Taking one deep breath in. Exhale, rebending that knee. Trying to sink a little bit further. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Sinking a little bit further. Exhale, straighten. This time we're going to rebend. We're going to go back into those chest opening stretches with our left hand now, lifting all the way up to the ceiling. Just feel this one more in your pec, in the middle of your back. Inhale, reaching all the way through those fingertips. Exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Squeezing your scapula. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Really trying to reach Exhale, lower. Walking that left foot to the outside of our mat now, pushing that knee outward. Letting your hips sink a little bit further into the floor. Deep breath in, reaching that hand all the way forward, and then reaching back. Reaching forward, feel free to stay in that knee pushing position if that feels more comfortable or if this is more difficult for you. Reaching forward. Exhale, reach back. Inhale forward. Exhale, reach back. Holding. Feel free to lift that right leg up, reaching for that foot. Taking a deep breath here. Letting your hips sink just a little bit further. Remembering to breathe. Letting your body know it's okay to relax. Exhale, lowering that foot, reaching both hands back onto the ground. Stepping that left foot back. Finding your high plank one more time, slowly lowering all the way down to the ground. Coming up, upward facing dog. Feel free to stay in that baby cobra. Looking over each shoulder if that feels comfortable to you. One more deep breath, lowering those knees all the way to the ground and pushing back, finding that child's pose. Feel free to take this time to roll out your wrists. Remembering to breathe. Taking one more deep breath in. Exhale, coming all the way back up, tabletop position, curling your toes underneath of you, pressing through the palms of your hands, coming all the way up, downward facing dog. Should be pushing through your shoulders and your scapula here. Trying your best to get your heels onto the floor, pushing through your rib cage, through the tops of your thighs. Taking one deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to lift your left leg all the way up, pointing your toes to the ceiling. Option to increase the intensity, bending your left knee, twisting your hips to the wall to your left. Holding here. On your next exhale, you're going to bring your knee to your chest, slowly lowering that leg all the way to the floor, coming into a pigeon stretch. You want your hips parallel to the floor underneath of you. You don't want to rock side to side. Trying to keep your chest also parallel to the floor beneath you or the wall in front of you. If you're looking to increase your intensity, feel free to walk your hands forward. Taking one more deep breath in. Exhale, walking your hands back, pushing yourself up into a high plank, stepping that left leg back, coming all the way into a downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. So when you're ready, lifting that right leg up, pointing those toes to the ceiling into a three-legged dog with the option to bend that right knee and face your hips to the wall beside of you. Holding here, trying to keep our shoulders parallel to the floor beneath of us. Still pressing through our scapula and the heels of our palms. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale, bringing our knee to our chest, slowly lowering down, coming all the way into that pigeon pose. Remember, we're not tilting side to side. We want our hips facing directly to the floor underneath of us. If you're looking to increase the intensity, feel free to walk your hands forward. Remembering to breathe here, taking deep breaths in, letting your body know it's okay to relax. When you're ready, you're going to walk your hands back, slowly lifting up. This time you're going to swing your leg in front of you, coming into a cross-leg position, or just kicking your feet out. Sorry, I lied. This time you're going to take your block, put it in front of you. If you're at home, take anything, put it in front of you. I'm going to work on a little bit of hip flexor stretch. Feel free to put your hands directly behind you, lifting up a single leg. You're going to lift your leg up and onto that block, up, and lowering back down to the floor. If you're a pro, you're going to go up and over the block completely. And if you're an ultra pro, you're going to stick your block all the way up and lift your foot all the way over. Remember, you're engaging your hip flexors here. If you'd like more of a challenge, lifting your hands up off the floor, still engaging that core, lifting up through your chest. Deep breaths in. You might be feeling this a little bit in your quad too. It's okay. Remember, you're just primarily trying to use your hip here. Deep breath in. And last one. Switching to the other leg now. Lifting up and over. Keeping your chest upright. Not trying to hollow out and letting your core get lazy. Still taking those deep breaths. Slow and in control. The slower you go, the harder it gets. Deep breath in. For 2 more. Last one. Lifting all the way up and back. Since we're here, let's do some core. Go ahead and place your hands behind you if you haven't already. We're going to bring our knees in and push them to the other side of that block, keeping your chest lifted up, lifting through your core. Feel free to touch the floor on each side if this is difficult for you. If you want to add a component of difficulty, just lifting your legs up and over that block. Should be working out your obliques. Deep breath in. For 1 more, exhale, bringing your knees all the way back to your chest. Just going to do alternated touches, but you're going to come all the way down to your forearms. Lifting one leg up, lowering the other to touch the floor. Lift, lowering the other leg now. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Still keeping that core engaged. 1 more deep breath in. 5 more seconds. Okay, I guess you can touch the floor now. Lowering all the way back down. Feel free to kick up that right leg, hooking it over top of your left, bringing that ankle to the top of your left thigh, grabbing onto your left hamstring or your left shin, pulling your leg close to you, option to rock side to side. Still remembering to breathe here. When you're ready, sending both hands to either side of your body, gently letting your hips fall to the left, still keeping both shoulders planted into the ground. If you're looking for a deeper stretch, feel free to extend your right leg all the way straight. Lifting it a little bit further up. One more deep breath in. Exhale, coming all the way back to center. Unhooking your right leg from your left, lifting your left leg, hooking it over your right, keeping that ankle on the top of that right thigh, grabbing onto your hamstring or your right shin, gently pulling your leg closer to you. Feel free to rock side to side if that feels comfortable. When you're ready, you're gently going to let your hands fall to either side of your body, letting your hip fall to the right, still keeping both shoulders on the ground. Feel free to extend that left leg all the way if you're looking for a deeper stretch. You can grab onto it with your hand. One more deep breath in. Exhale, coming all the way back up to center. Bringing the soles of your feet together, letting your hips fall to either side of your body. One hand over your heart, one hand over your stomach. We're going to meet here for our last few breaths of class today. Taking this time to set your intentions for the rest of the day. Letting go of any built-up tension. Bringing awareness to all four corners of your body. Wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Feel the back of your head pressed into the mat. Feeling the rise and fall of your chest. Might try box breathing here. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold and repeat. Slowly allowing yourself to sink further and further into the floor. That brings us to the end of today's class. Feel free to stay and stretch. I want to say thank you all for making it through your first week of class. I strongly appreciate any and all feedback, good or bad. I promise I won't get my feelings hurt. But that is how I set up class for next week. With that, look forward to seeing you all again on Tuesday.